I think about the bears, the beginning of the bears. Some say the bears are descended from the civet or civet cat, a rodent-like creature still surviving in Southeast Asia today. At some point in the civet cat's family tree, the cheetah and true cat split off. At some point, the raccoon and its relatives split off. At some point, the bear dog split off, for in those days it was one animal. The bear and the dog had a great long tail. Of course, eventually they parted ways. The bear went one way, the wolf went the other. The wolf got the long tail. The bear just got a short, stubby tail. This, then, is the tale of the bears. Well, then the bear split into three. That's a very important number. It will come up again and again in your life. It's the triple goddess, the three bears. 3, 3, 3. Watch for it. Now, the bears split into three. The giant cave bear, which is now extinct, the black bear, which we have in our forests around here, and the brown bear. Well, then the brown bear itself split into three. Now, there's that number I told you to watch for. The brown bear split into the three names we know it by today: the grizzly, the Kodiak, and the polar bear. And that's how you get the beginning of the bears. How do you get the end of the bears? Well, you put a highway here, a subdivision there, another subdivision there. Pretty soon the bears have to run across the highway and you shoot cars at them. It's a giant video game. There's one place on Highway 19 in Florida where they got 14 of them in 1 month. I don't know if that's a record or not, but a lot of people hate bears. And a lot of people fear bears. They're the biggest land predator. If bears are loose on Wall Street, it means that people are losing their shirts. But if things are bullish on Wall Street, it means that people are making money hand over fist, because bulls and cows have always been a major part of our economy. It's cowboys, ice cream, McDonald's. Oh, but the bear is kind of scary. Teddy Roosevelt, Ybor City's favorite son, our president 100 years ago, didn't necessarily hate bears, but he was a hunter. He liked to kill things. So he hired a guy to take him deep into the woods of Mississippi, where in those days they had some pretty big bears. And sure enough, the guy got on the trail of a bear and her cub. Teddy Roosevelt, the president, he was pretty excited. He said, "Ha ha, boy, get us a grizzly bear." Well, I don't know if the bear heard them, or smelled them, or saw them, but she had her cub to protect, so she turned and charged. Well, the guy had his president to protect, and not wanting to have a dead president, well, we got a dead bear. But the president was not immediately grateful with the charge of the bear and the rush of the moment and everything. He took off his hat and started swatting the man. He said, "That was my bear! You killed mine! I wanted to shoot that bear!" The man was kind of flustered. He didn't know what to do. So he pushed the bear cub over in front of the president, and he handed him the rifle and said, "Here, you can shoot this bear!" Well, it's a famous incident, of course. Teddy Roosevelt said, "I'm not going to shoot the baby." And so we have teddy bears named after him. Callisto was a girl, I swear, though now she's turned into a bear. Callisto lived in ancient Greece in a place called Arcadia, which we think of as meaning the dense forest, but actually it means land of the bears. And there in Arcadia, she was a follower of Artemis, the triple goddess. Now she's a triple goddess because here on Earth, she's Artemis Diana, the virgin huntress. But up above, she's Queen Moon, Selena Luna. And down below, she's Hecate, the witch goddess. So she's one, she's three, she's one. What a wacky religion. Yet somehow a lot of people fell for it. And indeed, it was a powerful cult in its day. This virgin hunt troupe. They hunted all the time. They remained virgins all their life. They were, of course, called the Bears, or the Cubs. The most beautiful, the most outstanding, the star of the virgin hunt troupe was Callisto. And Zeus, the king of the gods, the father of gods and men, yes, the father of Artemis himself. He looked down from Olympus and he saw Callisto and he fell in love with her. And eventually she fell in love with him. You know how people like to switch positions when they make love? Zeus liked to change his shape. He said to Callisto, "You ever making us bears?" He turned the two of them into bears. They grew the claws and the jaws and the hairs of the bear. Zeus gave her a bear hug. They were completely bear. Later on, when they went back to their original forms, Zeus went back up to Olympus where he makes the storms. Callisto, she wasn't really her original form anymore because having lost her virginity, she had lost the protection of her goddess. And she was pregnant. But the father was the king of the gods, so it seemed like it was going to be okay, and sure enough, 9 months later, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy. She named him Arcus the bear, and he grew strong, and he joined the virgin hunt troupe. He was really a star. He was outstanding. It looked like things were going great, except it turned out that Zeus was married to this very jealous Irish woman named June O'Hara. Well, the Romans call her Juno, the Greeks call her Hera. It sounds Irish to me. But whatever her ethnicity, she had a fiery, red-headed temper. And she went to visit Callisto, and she said, "So, you like being a bear. And you named your son the Bear Boy. Well, why don't you just be a bear from now on?" Zap! Callisto felt the claws and the jaws and the hairs of the bear growing on her, felt herself growing taller. She said, "The neighbors will never understand this." So she headed for the deep forest, where she figures she'll never run into another person. There's nobody out there except Arcas, the great hunter, who's there with his great spear. Well, when she sees him, Arcas, her son, she says, "Arcas!" He sees the bear. Ah! So he takes his spear. He's going to throw it to her heart, his own mother. And then a giant finger this big around comes down out of heaven and blocks the spear. Peels back the transparency of heaven and slaps the two of them up there as the great bear and the little bear, the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. Ah, but Juno Hera was not yet through with her jealous revenge. She went to visit her uncle and aunt, Ocean and Tethys, who are the ocean. And she said, "Now look, I've been watching these constellations cross the sky for about 1,000,000 years, and I notice the ram is only up there for part of the night, and then it sets. It's relaxing in your ocean. The bull, it's only up there for part of the year, and then it sets. It's relaxing in your ocean. But the bears, I don't want them to ever set. I want them up there all night, all year, every year, forever. I hate the bears." Well, she's the queen of heaven, and she gets what she wants. But because they are up there all night, every night, because they never set, they are a boon to us travelers. If you're in Norway or Iceland and you look at your compass, it points west to the magnetic North Pole. But if you look at the North Star, the tip of the tail of the small bear, it's always in the northern sky because that star is directly to the north of our sun. And if you follow that star as far north as you can go, you get to a place called the Arctic place of the bears. And if you look around, what do you see? Bears. Moreover, ancient people have always seen this polar constellation as a millstone. As it turns, the year turns, and the constellations go around, some setting, some rising. And as the year turns, the constellation turns, and the millstone turns. And Callisto is out there milling up our reality and the three dimensions we know from the three materials she has to work with: matter, antimatter, and nothingness. It's the triple goddess, the three bears. Muse, I must tell the tale of Callisto Miller. It's like Herodotus meeting Phyllis Diller. Callisto was a girl, I swear, though now she's turned into a bear. Callisto, Kodiak of the Zodiac, the great bear, what you call the Big Dipper, that's the one, that's her, that's Callisto Miller. No, she doesn't get very high, but she's the largest object in the sky, far bigger than the moon and the sun, yes I, and a galaxy is in her right eye, a black hole is her belly button. She's a Capricorn and Aries, she's a glutton for mutton, she's got a tail 11 years long, she's a downright appropriate subject of song, Callisto, Kodiak of the Zodiac. Now you could read of it in Translation about the creation of the constellation Death. Earthly life's cancellation, but she's not without her consolation. She's a shining in heaven as a constellation, Callisto, Kodiak of the Zodiac. The views of Zeus ooze in through the city's east gate. I sing the king of this thing is for sure no cheapskate. At the feast of all, they were serving beefsteak and all of those olives and a piece of cheesecake. There were sacrifices, bulls and stallions. This was many years ago, many thousands, and catacombs, bulls and stallions, many a millennium back, maybe millions. Callisto, Kodiak of the Zodiac.